Today on My World of Work, we are joined by Malose Makhafola, a young professional who has carved a unique path at the intersection of law, healthcare, and corporate compliance. From completing two challenging degrees at VETS to navigating the fast-paced world of regulatory work, Malose is building a career grounded in integrity, curiosity, and continuous growth. In this conversation, he shares his journey, the lessons he's learned, and what it really takes to thrive in a demanding corporate environment. Malusi, welcome to In Conversation. How are you, my brother?
I'm good. Thanks on yourself, guys. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm really pleased to be here.
We're happy to have you. Before we start, I want you to explain to me the difference between a BCom in law, corporate finance, and an LLB because you have both. So I just want to know
Okay.
the difference.
Okay. No problem. So with the BCom law, it is a corporate, it is a undergraduate degree that specializes in law, hence why the BCom law. So basically, we're now doing all of the subjects the same as all of your corporate students. So it's a 3-year program. In your first year, everyone that's doing corporate will pretty much be doing the same subjects, but then just the law students will now have law as a major, you see. And then from
Yeah.
second year onwards, that's when you start choosing two majors. You've got a variety. There's corporate finance, there's insurance, there's a whole bunch of other subjects. And then from there in the third year, out of those two majors, you choose your one major. And then, so in my second year, I did insurance and risk and I did corporate finance. And then third year, I just took the corporate finance and I majored in both corporate finance as well as law. That was the BCom. And then now with the LLB, it becomes now a postgraduate degree where now it's basically just law based. Now we focus more on your law modules, your delicts, your criminal law, your contracts. Now we start getting more deep into law centric. And then when that is a 2-year module, 2-year course. And then in your final year as well, now they introduce you to law clinic where now you actually get practical real life experience of what you've been learning throughout your BCom law as well as your LLB degree. The reason why I like both degrees is because it gives you an advantage. Firstly, you have 2 degrees, it's kind of an advantage. Secondly, it's the fact that now you are able to work in a corporate setting, a full corporate setting, as well as in law. So now your opportunities are endless. You can work in insurance, you can work in banking, you can work in the legal space as well. So that's the difference. There's the BCom law undergraduate degree as well as the postgraduate LLB degree.
So a person with a BCom law, when they graduate, do they also do articles and write board exams?
So for you to do articles, the minimum requirement is LLB. So for any student who's
Okay.
doing BCom law who aspires to do articles has to do the postgraduate LLB, which is going to be an extra 2 years, and then proceed to do the articles.
So looking back, do you feel one degree prepared you more for the real workplace than the other?
Looking at it both sides, I'd say both helped me in different ways because the BCom law, it gave me a very good legal foundation, but then it exposed me to a lot of things in the corporate setting, to a lot of other avenues that could be in the corporate setting. You know what I mean? Like being in your investments, being in the corporate finance, being in the insurance space, those types of things.
Do you feel one degree prepared you more for the real workplace than the other?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I was saying with the BCom law, it prepares you nicely for the corporate setting, for the whole corporate space, right? It exposes you in that part. And then with the LLB, since it's more law centric, you get exposure to, like, for instance, when we're doing practical legal studies, which is your law clinic, you get exposure to real cases, real people actually come into the law clinic to help. You get exposure to actually go with the advocates to the magistrate court. You help them as well with the cases, the indexing, the pagination, the whole process, literally from the summons all the way till you get to trial. You can be actually real life exposed and be a part of and help in that space. So you see now when you want to go into the corporate setting, you can do that with your BCom law degree. But then also now it also kind of backs you up as well when you've got an LLB degree that also backs you up in the legal sense, and you can still go everywhere in the corporate space because you've got the BCom. So in a way, both can kind of back each other and also be standalone, and you can thrive when
Okay, so it's a good thing to have both laws.
I always recommend, like, for all of the students who do The 4-year LLB stream, great course, nothing against it. I always just recommend that you just take an extra year, have 2 degrees out of it, and then from there, it broadens your avenues. Not even just with BCom, you can even do your BA law and go to the LLB. Really strengthens your options, broadens your options as well.
So are you also an admitted attorney?
Am I? Sorry?
Are you an admitted attorney by the High Court?
Not, I never went the route of articles.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a rough one, that one, getting articles, because like it's a lot of people. Hey, you see that hunt. So yeah, I guess I wasn't the lucky ones, but turns out, God can never plan for you that you didn't even realize yourself. And that's how I ended up going into the space I currently am in now.
Okay. So your academic path shows consistency and discipline. What was the most challenging academic moment for you, and how did it shape the professional you've become or you are becoming?
I wouldn't even say it was like an academic moment per se, but it was everything around it. You know what I mean? My 2 biggest things was anxiety and imposter syndrome. Those are my 2 biggest things. So with the anxiety, I remember first test ever wrote, first test results came out. Teacher was even saying she was shocked, 22% pass rate. I have never, ever, ever in my entire life ever heard of those marks. Me, I was used to getting 70s in high school. That's what I get. Marks come 32%. Had an anxiety attack for the first time in class. Never experienced something like that before. So then from there, like people saw it. I ended up having, I think, 4, 5, 6 anxiety attacks a day. And I used to be asthmatic. So now I was scared that the asthma could come back. And then from there, there was just a whole group of friends that actually came and they supported me, and they started giving me structures in place, programs like tutorials to do, extra homework to do, just to be able to deal with anxiety. And since then, I have just moved with friends. That's why I really recommend, like, when you go into varsity, this thing of doing it alone, have a group around you that can support each other, that can, move. And then also with the imposter syndrome part, it was a situation where, for some odd reason, a person that really used to be confident in his abilities just, I don't know, feels out of place, feels unworthy for some odd reason. And it was a serious struggle throughout my BCom and LLB. And I really feel like I missed a lot of opportunities. And a lot of opportunities passed me by because I really believed that, like, I wasn't deserving of some of the things. But then now, when you start incorporating things like prayer, you realize that everything's going to happen in its own time. And you just focus on what you can do in that moment, And also with the fact that now having a support structure as well around it really, really helped. And now having that support structure, when things get dark or when times get tough, there's people that have your back. And then, you've got an academic structure, you've got a spiritual structure, you're playing sports, all of these types of things. And then from there, you use that whole program and that structure and that ritual. And then from there, it also blends into the academics and you see your marks end up improving. That's what happened with my LLB. I really had a strong support system. That's where the consistency, the discipline now, that whole structure, it literally just flowed so nicely when I started employment around almost 3 years back. You know what I mean? Just took the same thing and I realized that the efficiency was actually the same in terms of the output, in terms of the type of delivery you can bring, in terms of, because the consistency, it keeps going. It's a train that keeps going, doesn't stop. And from there, you always discipline because there's always goals that you want to reach, So that's how it literally shaped nicely into the type of professional I'm being, that I'm getting, growing, still learning.
So your career journey led you into healthcare consulting and compliance, a space many don't fully understand. What drew you to this industry specifically?
I'm actually going to be honest now. Until I worked where I started at Evo Financial Services, I did not know a clue about compliance. That is the real truth. The thing about Wits is like, top 3 in the country, top 3 in Africa and stuff like that. So they usually feeders for the top 5 law firms in the country: Adams and Adams, Weber, Wenzel, Norton, Rose, Fulbright, Bowman's, all of those people. And they keep saying that we need people of 75%, but in terms of the way they'd like structure it, the traditional approach was always to feed. So always from BCom law going up all the way into LLB, it was just a thing of BCom, LLB, articles, get admitted, post admittance, now you're associate, now you're going for partner. That was always the way it was. Now we discover there's a new emerging field that is vastly growing. rapidly growing. Everyone needs to be compliant. There's a whole bunch of regulations. It started being really serious when Papaya came out. This become Law LLB thing. This is where the whole versatility came in. I didn't even know that there's so many avenues other than just articles, because articles has always just been the main focus. That actually was even
Yeah.
for us, myself and my parents as well. That always was the plan. We didn't know that how if you turn left, there's so many towns here. There's so many towns here of legal spaces that we didn't even know of, because we just keep passing and trying to go into this article space. Then we realize when we're in traffic, we have to turn left and right, and we realize, oh wow, there's other spaces. So that's when I realized, okay, compliance could actually be the one. It really could be the one, because it's exciting. It's very broad. So there's no thing of you'll get bored or whatever. So yeah.
For someone like me who doesn't know much about compliance, can you like maybe explain to us what it is, what you guys do?
Okay, so to basically just put it in simple terms, we are the security guard, right?
Uh-huh.
On face value, we are the security guard. We are the regulatory safeguard. We are the security guard. We make sure that our company is free from risk and any legal consequences as much as possible. But also, compliance is the bridge between law, between business operations, between the risk of the business, as well as between the ethics of the business. We always push to, there's so much that actually happens into compliance. It's not even just the thing of the legal aspect. Sometimes your legal advice could actually help business divisions, you know.
Yeah.
Let's say, for instance, I'm going to give an example for, let's say, for supervision. You find that when you're doing your own reports and stuff, the reports could help them, let's say, maybe give them more training, those types of things, So in our in a company or in an organization that you are, compliance officers or people who are doing compliance, always make sure we build a culture of accountability. We always make sure that we protect companies from legal audit. A lot of fines. A lot of fines. I think within the first 6 months, they already issued 109 million worth of funds. So it's very strict and heavily regulated. So we need to make sure that we are above board. We stay away from any legal troubles. And also through our expertise and our experience, we can also help, because we can see all other aspects of the business as well.
I really like your analogies. You simplify things when you explain them. You don't use
For sure.
jargon, jargons. So what's the biggest what's the biggest misconception you had before you actually started working in compliance and healthcare?
Biggest misconception. This one, a lot of people in compliance get this a lot. People think compliance officers or police who just cost the company money. Hey, they always want to get these documents. Hey, they always telling us to update this. Hey, they always telling us to do that. Hey, they always want to meet up. I'm just paying them so that they are. No, it's not really like that. Like, we're literally saying, like, we're the security guards. The things we really do like to safeguard you guys as much as possible. Things we don't like is PI claims. We have to pay millions out, or you find that now there's reputational risks. They suspend our licenses. It's really not nice. It slows down productivity and stuff like that. So we really do look out for companies. You know what I'm saying? The other one I also found out, which is a misconception myself when I started getting into the field. I thought medical aid covers everything. It turns out it really doesn't. So what happens is that with 100% cover, you have, they say it's called prescribed minimum benefits. So according to there's things like diabetes and stuff, the medical aid has to cover it, they have to cover the thing. But then there's certain procedures where like they can only cover a certain amount, and then you find that those you have to pay out of pocket, which is why we also recommend gap cover to get gap cover. So those are like the two biggest misconceptions that usually like it goes around, and that myself also felt going into the space.
Oh, okay. So I have a question now. I'm not sure if maybe I've asked it before, but if I did, you'll tell me and we'll skip it, no?
Okay.
Compliance is often described as invincible backbone of a company. In your experience, what does your day-to-day actually look like beyond the job description?
Okay. We haven't answered this one. Give examples. Say, for instance, we sign new clients, right? We sign new clients. We need to make sure there's certain documents in place, like your letters of appointment and all those types of things, to make sure that now we know. And then all of the people in organograms of all of the people in the company, so that we can start doing what we call FICA checks. FICA checks is just like an anti-terrorism
Malusi,
database to just make sure that now there's no funny activity that's going on between, you know, parties in and out of companies. So we have to do those checklists when we get the clients. Those are the necessary documents that we get. Gets a little busy from there. And then from there, we start doing the overview. We start meeting with all of the heads of business units to start seeing reports and stuff for how representatives have been performing, how we've been dealing with complaints, how...
hello.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I had
No
connectivity
worries.
issues.
No, it happens. No worries. So I'll repeat the question again. And compliance often described as the invisible backbone of a company. In your experience, what does your day-to-day actually look like beyond the job?
Okay, so I'm gonna give examples along the way, just to give you a background of the day to day and basically what we do. When we sign, for an instance, when we sign a new client, we need to make sure that we have all the necessary documents in place regarding our client. The letters of appointment, we need to make sure if they're accredited as brokers and key individuals, we're going to need your CIPC documents. Method of identification of all of our clients as well, so that we can be able to do FICA checklists. So when we do FICA checklists, we check all of our clients. We're required by law to check all of our clients on the FICA database. So FICA database, basically, it's an intelligence center that checks conduct between companies and making sure that they do not commit any fraudulent activities. So we basically check if, let's say, for instance, we don't want to find that like the CFO of one of the companies who signed is getting money from, you'd say it's a donor or it's listed as a donor, but they're getting money for Boko Haram. Just as a simple example. So we check against those, can't sign clients like that. So we check all of those against, make sure they're in the clear, get all of those necessary documents. From there, now we start touching base with the heads of business divisions, start touching base on the business operations, start touching base on the risks that everyone's going to be assigned certain risks within the executive committee. Once every 2 weeks, we start touching base on Fridays about what's going on. And then I conduct monthly compliance reports for them. And then from there, from the reports, they will start using them in their own business divisions, making sure they start doing their own monitoring, make sure they do their due diligence. And then if there's any issues or any problems, we start ensuring mitigation strategies as well. We check the trainings, making sure that the trainings are good enough, trainings are accredited, and then make sure that we do as much trainings as possible with all of our employees to make sure we stay updated, make sure we know what's going on with the regulations, make sure that all of our representatives are accredited with the schemes, the broker contracts are good, so that we can go and we can represent our clients as best as we possibly can. So that's just basically a roundabout of what happens in the day-to-day.
Which part of your work would you say would surprise the people?
I think the most surprising thing is how it keeps expanding, especially when you realize when you start compliance, right? And you think, like, let's say the first 6 months, you think it's this small. And then after 12 months, it becomes this big. Then after 24 months, it becomes this large. And what makes it even wilder about the whole compliance space we're in right now is that while you are expanding the knowledge, the whole of compliance is expanding as well. The financial services space is expanding as well. So you just keep expanding with it. So like you can like really never see the horizon, because there's just so much that is happening. There's so much that can happen. There's so many avenues that you can go. So I feel like that's the one that actually kind of shocked me the most. To see there's no limit to this.
So you operate at the intersection of healthcare, insurance, and compliance, three rapidly evolving. What shifts or trends do you believe young professionals should prepare for in this?
The biggest one, in my opinion, that I feel like they should look out for is the Coffee Bill, the Conduct of Financial Institutions Bill that is being passed. Parliament is going to meet up later on this year into next year, first quarter. They're trying to enact it next year. So what's going to happen is that with the Coffee Bill, it's going to basically be the overall framework for financial services, for the financial services industry, and help it better helps it with clients, as well. what is going to happen is it's a lot of legislation is going to fall down. It's going to become a very wide, vast piece of legislation. Or things like your short-term and long-term insurance acts will fall. Your FACE Act will also fall. And then the Kofi Bill is going to bring major amendments to things like your Medical Schemes Act, your Pension Funds Act. Stuff like Friendly Societies Acts are also going to fall as well. So there's a lot of, not necessarily fall, but it's going to be integrated into one main robust system. And they're trying to enact that within the next 3 years. So just need to be on the lookout to maintain that shift. And also that's going to require us to also basically reorganize, get new licenses, because it's going to be a brand new framework, brand new way of running things. It's going to go from, if it was FSB, change to FSCA, then now it's going to go from FSCA. We're going to have to go get coffee new licenses as well, for an example. So it's pretty much going to change a lot for a lot of people. And it will basically be advisable wise as well to like go through the bill, have an opinion around it, see opinions of people, what's happening in is, how do they feel about it, and then start coming up with strategies of how they can now incorporate it into their business functions and be ahead of the curve before now it hits them when they least expect it, or when it comes too rapid and then now they struggle a little bit, you know. So that's the one they really need to look out for. Also, I'd like to recommend some tools, just some small tools as well, just to like just to know what's happening on the FSCA website. You can go and you can subscribe as well. When you subscribe, it's going to send you daily updates to your email. All of the notices that are going to be happening, instead of scrolling, maybe missing sometimes. We're all humans. We miss sometimes on the website, all the notices that come out. So you're going to subscribe there. It's going to daily things that they're going to send to you. You can stay updated as much as possible. Another one is called a continuous professional development, or CPD, as we call it. If you're fit and proper under financial services, you must complete 18 CPD hours per so cycle runs from June to May. So basically it's like modules that they release that you get points, or programs that you will do and they give you points, of changes and trends that happen in the industry right now, like how would they incorporate crypto in the financial spaces and how they would regulate that, how they incorporate AI into our models and how they regulate that. All of this to make sure that you also stay updated. So I encourage all FSPs or representatives, whether it's a requirement at work or not, to do the 18 CPD points so you can also stay ahead, stay updated with what's happening in the industry. It's very, very important that we make sure that we stay updated, because like, as I said, it's very rapid and it is an evolving industry. It's a very strict industry. It's a very major industry. So that will really, really help, you know. And another thing that I also would recommend is don't stop learning. Learn as much as you can, absorb as much as you can. Do short courses if you need to do. Go do a LLM if you want, if you need to. Go start another degree. Do short courses. Always upskill yourself as much as you possibly can. Even in courses where you think you don't need it, go do business management. Go for your MBA. Not that you can't. There's fundings. There are channels, you know, that you can do. They could even sponsor you at work. Make sure you don't stop learning. Make sure you're always updated. And then you're going to go with the flow. Wavebot. It's just going to be a wavebot, surfbot for you. Nicely.
With the bill that you mentioned, does it affect me, the regular citizen, or it's only for you guys? And
it benefits everyone in a sense that your relief actually gets quicker, because now instead of going through all of these channels where there was a short-term problem, there was a long-term problem, now there's just one act that's pretty much going to deal with it. So in terms of the admin backlog and everything, it's going to diminish quickly, because now it's going to be put under one robust thing and be able to deal with it more efficiently. And then also the regulatory framework, it regulates all of the financial services industry. Let's say maybe with a fine-tooth comb, better, more efficient, less fraud, all those good things.
okay. So, compliance and healthcare administration be mentally heavy. How do you maintain balance while staying sharp? And
Maintaining balance in terms of balancing both the careers, or Are you saying maintaining balance in terms of like maintaining the healthcare side of things as well as the compliance side?
Yeah, it can be both. Or
I think the one thing that helps the most, that helps it overlap, is everything that you're doing, you do it with your best interest at heart. You know, when you're in the healthcare space, do it with best interest at heart. Like be reciprocative. It's a reciprocal in a sense of if you were in that situation, like the urgency in which someone needs to help, you know, like you need to go for a procedure, but you need pre-authorization, but then the broker needs to go through a broker. Broker's not helping you. So like if you have someone's best interest at heart, you're going to make sure to sort it out as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible, you know, to the customer satisfaction, or not to the customer, to the client satisfaction, sorry. And then, you know, everyone is good. Same with the compliance side. You just need to make sure you have the company's interest at heart. You don't want the company. You see the juristic person. It's the same with like a him. You want them to be hurt. You don't want them to, you know, be so crying or like depressed or if you're going to make sure they're fine. The same thing to the company, you're making sure they're fine the same way how you'd make the client fine, you know? And then it's with the way it teaches you, it also teaches you to be a well-rounded individual. It recognizes timing of the type of person you need to be at a certain time. Because when you're on the healthcare side, you probably find that you're more on the passionate, understanding side where you relate with people. But then on the compliance side, sometimes you could find that you switch. You're very firm, you're very rigid. Sometimes also you're very strict and you're very disciplined, you know? And then you want your things in a certain way. Obviously, like you meet deadlines. So like it may seem somehow. So it's very also important to be able to recognize the timing, learn the space you're in, learn the crowd that you're dealing with. So that's basically how I balance. You just flow from one emotion into the other, depending on like the space that you're doing.
who has played a significant mentorship role in your?
The parents is one for definitely believing in me at all times. There's a lot of colleagues that I went throughout varsity with where we formed study groups, we formed friend groups. Like it got to a point where everyone even knew their study methods, study techniques, ended up going into therapy later. That also helped. Having a spiritual group, a church you can go to also as well on Sundays. Having friends who are funny enough, having friends who are creative are very, very great to be around. Like your imagination must move, you know? The creative juices flow all of the time. And as well, I also had a very active group, play a lot of sports. Whether I'm doing soccer, whether I'm doing athletics, or whether I'm playing touch rugby or sevens rugby. Always making sure that you're also, so all the aspects of your life, you're making sure that you are good. So those are literally the people that carried me. Then when you know, in every single aspect, you know, there's people that are carrying me. My cousin as well, my cousin Twan, he was also biggest motivator as well because he was also cousin I grew up with. He also studied at FIT. So it was also really, really, really great having family around, you know, even though like I don't stay far from home, but like it was really great having family around. So that was also a very good stable to.
So do you of maybe getting?
In the near future, yes, I really would. I'd really love to do it. I'm a big fan of knowledge. I'm a big fan of wisdom. I'm a big fan of experience. And it's always great to share with others and be the mentor you have or the mentor you'd like to have. You know what I mean? It's very great to be able to share knowledge with the people around you and to be able to see that knowledge that you shared help them grow into the potential and into the human beings that they should be. So mentorship really would be one I'd really like to do one day. But like for now, I'm also, you know, still learning the ropes, still waiting to get fit and proper so I can also go into the consultancy space and I'm still going to learn there as well. But I'm also learning along the way. But it really also would be nice, you know, to learn along the way with someone as well, learn together and then, you know, because I like a mentorship style like that. Like not just me tell you, like we both learn off each other. You know, that'd really be great.
Oh, so you're positioned at a place where legal training meets compliance expertise. Where do you see yourself specializing further? Corporate law, insurance law, compliance, or something?
That's a tough question because I've never really thought of one, because of the whole life structure. I have been doing so many things. Like, for instance, outside of school, I've been doing so many activities, and that's just literally gone over straight to the point where, like, I don't know, man. I'm such a curious person. I'm such an inquisitive person. I like to see what's happening, to the point where I'm not really sure if I can see myself maybe specializing. Okay, not say specialize, life to specialize, but then stay in an industry, let's say 15 years straight. I'm still right now in the financial services industry. Right now, I'm in the healthcare insurance. I'm in the healthcare. I'd like to see myself in insurance someday. I'd like to do insurance. I'd like to use the corporate finance to someday maybe double and dabble in investment maybe one day, maybe going to banking. I like, they're really interesting horizons. I'd really like to explore all of them, have a feel of it, see what it's like.
You don't want to.
That's your restriction. Some could even say I'm allergic. I really don't like restriction, like being boxed into a thing. Like, I like to be like, oh, that sounds, okay, let me try. Okay, this could be the one. If it's not the one, like, it's not a crime, you know?
Yeah, now I see why you surround yourself with.
Yes. So you see the creative aspect, you see the kick in where, ideas are flowing. Like, there's no such thing as in the creative space, they say there's no such thing as a bad idea. Obviously, in the corporate space, it's completely different because you get fined or you go to jail. But yeah, with that, like, they channel the imagination. They channel not just the imagination, the way of thinking, where usually when you are in the corporate space, they'd allow, not necessarily allow, but there'll be maybe 6 different ways of thinking. But because of the creative space, you could end up getting in a way where you see it 12 different ways. Those 6 new different ways, maybe 4 don't work, maybe 2 are effective. You know what I mean? Like, you always bring a fresh approach, some outside of the box, as I'd like to say, some outside of the box thinking.
Earlier on, you mentioned that a person should always try to upskill himself. So, what skill are you currently doing right now?
Okay, so I am currently I'm doing my class of business. It's these short courses that we're required to do in the financial services industry, so they can be able to see that you are competent or knowledgeable enough in that specific field. So I'm busy with my short-term and my long-term insurance. I'm planning on writing I have my RE5. So the RE5 is basically an entrance exam. It's a qualification to show that you will be competent enough to give financial advice in intermediary services. So once you have the RE5, then you go through a 2-year supervision, and then you become what they call fit and proper. So I've got the RE5 currently. So I'm going towards the RE1 because it's required for compliance officers to have a RE1 in addition to key individuals. So I need to do the RE1. So I'm currently studying for that. Then actually I'm considering a master's. I've been playing around with that for a while, so I might actually look into that. Into what, I'm not really sure. Maybe insurance or even compliance in general. But yeah, master's has been on my mind, and who knows, it could be a January thing as well. So with the studies, that's currently what's happening.
Okay. So, corporate spaces can be intense, political, and demanding. How do you stay grounded in your beliefs of integrity, harmony, and
I think this is where the law aspect came in. I've kind of separated facts over feelings. And usually, to the best way to, like, get things done, actually be effective, is actually let's rather just focus on the facts on the table. Because the thing is that immediately when, like, feelings become involved, especially in a heated and political space, like corporate finance, we tend to say things we don't mean to say, or act in a way that is not really considered professional. So make sure we stay away from that.
so has there ever been a moment where your values were
I have had situations where, not necessarily like just at work, but life in general, where I have been tested, but I stay grounded and realize, you just look at the bigger picture. Risking long term for short gratification sometimes really isn't worth it. So, you stay humble, you stay grounded, and I mean, as much as it is a corporate space and you have a right to say no, and I'm at least kind of decent enough to even give an explanation to be like, I'm not comfortable and this is why. And I'm fortunate enough to actually be in a space that we can actually chat and find a compromise as to finding a way forward and finding some sort of middle ground, and then we work with each other nicely from there. So I've never really had really a burning issue where like it's compromised to the point where like I'm very uncomfortable. But then if I do feel uneasy, I disagree, I do speak out.
Oh, so yeah. Now I have like my last question. So my last question is, if we were to interview you again if we were to interview you again 5 years, what's one milestone you hope
To be a well-respected consultant and legal compliance officer within the financial services industry and legal space. Prayer to God's ears, have my own compliance firm. Yeah, run on my own. Then the mentorship can really come true. And basically just be a man of honor and integrity. Be a man of honor and integrity. Help out in need. I'm really just trying to make a change as much as possible. I have a lot of goals. So if I can really move correctly, other dreams can happen. So that's basically would be me in 5 years. Well-respected individual, proficient in the industry, ever evolving, maybe with a master's or two. Oh, that would be wonderful. And with my,
you want
and with, why not?
to you love education. No.
Knowledge is power. Yo, hey, I have education is a different situation. I like knowledge. I do like knowledge though. Like sometimes you ask why, but then when you even ask like why not? Like why not have 2 master's degrees? Why not be proficient in a field? Like why not? No one said you.
So would you also get
I not that far.
at least you
I would rather have 3 4 masters and have 1 PhD. I like how I say rather be like,
what's
oh, your PhD. I'd rather use the energy for PhD, get another master's in another field. Try something new.
uh,
Maybe be outside of my comfort zone, try something new.
do you would you say that you would consider changing fields? Maybe do another degree in some.
Yeah, another degree. I'm not really sure because like, hey, the heart has always been at legal. I haven't really seen life without law for the longest of time. I don't see changing anytime soon. I thought it was going to change in primary and high school. I ended up doing law, getting both degrees. It hasn't changed, then it's still growing. I don't see it disappearing anytime soon. So I really do just see myself around the legal space. Maybe it could be like a mining law or something far, maybe. But like, yeah, as long as there's a legal something.
Okay. Malisi, for taking the time to talk to us and sharing your knowledge. I don't know if maybe something you have any closing words, parting words.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. I really am blessed for this opportunity. Just a parting word. Guys, please don't restrict yourself. Please do not restrict yourself. This life is too short for you to be doubting yourself, whether you can or you can't. I promise you the worst to regret you will ever have in your life is I could have, I should have, I would have. Let's not have that. If you have an idea to do. Ike doesn't put that slogan by mistake. Just do. You will see ahead. Things will happen. You will see ahead. Just do. Don't restrict yourself. You want to do something, do. Who's going to tell you? No. Who's going to tell you? You won't get arrested. You won't get arrested. Oh, guys.
Thank you, my brother.
I appreciate it.